Hi, this is insane. I've never done this in front of this many people. Um, but I'm an alcoholic. My name is Devon. My sobriety date is January 15th of 2020, and for that I'm truly grateful. I have a sponsor. He knows I'm his sponsee, and I sponsor other men in the program. Um, Today or tonight, I guess, I wanted to pull a topic from the big book Alcoholics Anonymous. If none of y'all know me really, but by the end of this, y'all will probably see that I'm a pretty big book thumper. And, this is where our program of recovery comes from. So I definitely feel the need to know and study this book. So I'm pulling the topic off of page 100. It's usually my go-to topic. It's a little lengthy, but you just bear with me. I'm starting at the last paragraph on page 100. And just a side note, this topic is coming from the chapter Working with Others. So if you follow the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, by the time you're in this chapter, you'll have been working on your 12th step. So just keep that in mind as I go through this. It says, assuming we are spiritually fit, we can do all sorts of things alcoholics are not supposed to do. People have said we must not go where liquor is served. We must not have it in our homes. We must shun friends who drink. We must avoid moving pictures which show drinking scenes. We must not go into bars. Our friends must hide their bottles if we go to their houses. We mustn't think or be reminded about alcohol at all. Our experience shows that this is not necessarily so. We meet these conditions every day. An alcoholic who cannot meet them still has an alcoholic mind. There is something the matter with his spiritual status. His only chance for sobriety would be some place like the Greenland ice cap, and even there an Eskimo might turn up with a bottle of scotch and ruin everything. Ask any woman who has sent her husband to distant places on the theory he would escape the alcohol problem. In our belief, any scheme of combating alcoholism which proposes to shield the sick man from temptation is doomed to failure. If the alcoholic tries to shield himself, he may succeed for a time, but he usually winds up with a bigger explosion than ever. We have tried these methods. These attempts to do the impossible have always failed. So our rule is not to avoid a place where there is drinking if we have a legitimate reason for being there. That includes bars, nightclubs, dances, receptions, weddings, even plain ordinary whoopee parties. To a person who has had experience with an alcoholic, this may seem like tempting providence, but it isn't. You will note that we have made an important qualification. Therefore, ask yourself on each occasion, have I any good social, business, or personal reason for going to this place? Or am I expecting to steal a little vicarious pleasure from the atmosphere of such places? If you answer these questions satisfactorily, you need have no apprehension. Go or stay away, whichever seems best, but be sure you are on solid spiritual ground before you start and that your motive in going is thoroughly good. So that's again, I'm an alcoholic. My name is Devin. That's my go-to topic for any meeting that I chair. I feel like it's something very important that we take into consideration when we get sober, because I didn't get sober to sit on my couch and hide away from the rest of my life. I got sober to live. Um, when I got sober, I was still underage. I was 20 years old and I was 4 months away from my 21st birthday. And I just celebrated 4 years of sobriety this past January. And so um, when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I actually got here through a treatment center. And I found my first sponsor because he cussed me out in the middle of a meeting because I was complaining about my life. I was complaining that I was so young, that I'd already been to jail twice, that I had gotten a DWI, and that now I was in treatment and my life was over because I was never allowed to drink again. And I was never going to be able to do anything or have fun ever again. And he got tired of me complaining. And so he got up out of his chair and told me to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and start listening, or I was going to die and nobody cared if I did. So I asked that man to be my sponsor. I walked up to him after the meeting about, I don't know, I was like 9 days sober. And I asked him what his name was, and he said, "It's Ron. Nice to meet you." He doesn't care if I say his name. And I was like, all right, Ron, I'm gonna do these bitch ass steps and you're gonna fucking sponsor me. Because anytime I had ever talked to anybody triple my age like that, they usually told me to, fuck off. And he didn't. He said, okay, do you have a big book? And I went, no, what's that? And so he hands me a big book and he goes, do you know how to read? I was like, of course I know how to read. He's like, don't get snotty with me. Some people can't read. And he told me to read from the doctor's opinion to the end of page 43, which is a chapter more about alcoholism, and write everything down that I found that applied to my life. And I was like, okay, when do you want it done? And he said, tomorrow morning. And I went, dude, that's like 50 something pages. I'm dyslexic. I can't read that fast. And he went, read it slowly or fucking die. I don't care. And so I got my first sponsor out of spite. And that man is the man that took me through the 12 steps the first time. And as a result of working the steps, I come from a, I guess, sponsor lineage that we don't take our time. There's no point in being this in slowing down. You work the steps. Why the fuck would you want to sit in a meeting and be miserable hearing about how everybody's life is getting better because they're working the 12 steps, and you're just going to 90 meetings in 90 fucking days and just gripping the chair because you haven't taken a step and you just want to share? That's not what AA is about. As a result of working the steps, I finished the steps in about 2 months. If I sponsor you, you finish the steps in 2 weeks to a month, or you move on to somebody else. And as a result, once I got to that 12th step, not only was I sober, I was relieved of that obsession to drink all the time, right? Because I'm not going to go into the allergy and the obsession. If you're here, you know it. If you don't know it, find a sponsor and ask them what that is. But again, I was about to turn 21. I didn't know really what to do, but I didn't have this obsession to drink anymore. And right, some of my friends were normal, and some people still wanted to go out and do things, and some people wanted to go to concerts. I loved freaking raves. I still do. I love all this stuff that I used to do, but I was scared to do it because I'm sober now. And what about the drugs around me? And what about the all the booze around me? And what about the first time I walk into a bar? And what happens when I turn 21 and I don't have the safety net of being underage? And so my sponsor pointed me to that passage. And as a result, it's true. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I've recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body. I do not obsess over taking a drink or not taking a drink. And so I'm able to go anywhere and everywhere as long as I have a sufficient reason to go and I'm on good spiritual grounding. It's just that simple. I'll give you an example. My girlfriend turned 20 on her, we went out for her 21st birthday, and she's normal. I'm also from Texas, so if you've ever, I live in a college town. If you've ever been to any college town, there's a row of bars somewhere, right? So we went there, and everything was fine. And one of my sponsees was actually doing a concert in that area, and we happened to run into each other. And one of my sponsees bought my girlfriend a tequila shot on her 21st birthday. And if that isn't proof that Alcoholics Anonymous works, I don't know what is. But Alcoholics Anonymous has given me so much more than the ability not to drink, because I'm a real alcoholic. If I took step one, and I believe that step one is as serious as it is, step one doesn't tell me I cannot drink anymore. It doesn't tell me that I shouldn't drink anymore. Step one tells me that I am going to drink no matter what. No matter if, my mother does something, I get arrested, a therapist tells me something to do, a girl leaves, or whatever. I'm going to drink no matter what the consequences are. Even if I know that I'm going to drink, I'm going to die. And so as a result of working those 12 steps, my life has been amazing. Alcoholics Anonymous, the first thing I got out of it is I got sober. That's why it only mentions alcohol in that first step. The other 11 steps are designed for living. So as a result, I've created an amazing life. I don't really like to talk about drunkalogs because everybody in this meeting knows how to drink or use other substances that are fun with it. That's not what this is about. This is about finding a solution to a hopeless state in mind and body. And I'm able to go anywhere and do anything I want. So long as I stay in this program, I keep working with sponsees, I keep attending meetings, I keep being of service, I can do anything. I've been to music festivals and concerts and raves and weddings. I've buried people in Alcoholics Anonymous. I've never found a reason to drink because I don't have that obsession anymore. I found a viable substitute because of this program. And as a result of taking these 12 steps, I graduated as a two-time college dropout on the dean's list. I got an amazing job with the city with a criminal record. I got car insurance. Like, who the fuck has car insurance? I used to drive with expired tags, no registration, and invalid suspended license. Like, that's insane. I have health insurance. I didn't even know what that was until I got here. Like, these things are amazing, and it's only a result of the steps that I've taken and me allowing God to come into my life. And so I really like talking about this topic because we go to treatment centers or we go talk to a cop or a counselor, and they're well-meaning people and they allow us to find the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. But a lot of them are going to tell you, you need to stay away from these things. You can't do these things. And sure, that's great for somebody who's 2 days sober or 30 days sober or hasn't worked a step in their life. But to get sober doesn't mean you're going to sit on your couch and fucking rot for the rest of your life and just stay away and hold on one day at a time. I got sober to live my fucking life. The first 20 years, I've done more in the past 4 years than I ever did in my first 20 years of living. And it's amazing. Like there's stuff under my name. There's an apartment in my name. I have a brand new car outside. I don't even know how I did that. Like I didn't. It's all the result of working these 12 steps and creating and finding a higher power. That's really the amazing, I don't know, testament that I have to say to this program. And so that's why I like to talk about this topic a lot. I feel like it's not talked about a lot. We come to Alcoholics Anonymous to get sober, and as a result, we get to live, not just survive in a world. So I don't know if my time's up, but that's all I got. I'm an alcoholic. My name is Devon.